Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I'm with you until sometime this afternoon. Little baby is here with me, back there laughing weirdly. That was a weird laugh. Few things going on today, but let me say hello. Hello, everyone. Hello to the people. Hold on, let me get some of these graphics up here. So that people know if they want to call in, they know how. 513-717-5464. 513-717-5464. That's the number to get on board. Let's go over here. Say hello to a few people. Robert Willis, how you doing? Good afternoon. Tina, good afternoon, Tina. Miss Pittsburgh, good afternoon. She says, good afternoon, everyone. Anthony says, afternoon, fam, from the west side. West side. Black Lion says, let's get the afternoon experiment on. Yeah, we're going to get it going. David, well, good afternoon, E-Man, little baby, and afternoon experiment, fam. Maria says, good afternoon. And Tina, they said good afternoon to you, little baby. I hate when you do that. Good to see you. Heard you on the radio. You want Lincoln was going at it. Oh, he wasn't. He just hung up on me. I was really defending him. Daryl, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Daryl. Let me see. We got Regina. Hold on, I can't see that over there. Regina Denson Griffin says good afternoon. Anthony says, I'm not saying that out loud. She'll hear me and then she'll get a big head. She actually think that's a thing. Karen at Di Williams, good afternoon. Checking in from the west side. Shirley says good afternoon. She checking in from Westchester. Jenna says good afternoon. And to the little baby, they say good afternoon to you again, little baby. Let me see. Pamela checking in. North Avondale, where the rich people dwell. Rhonda checking in. Great afternoon. Andrea says, good afternoon all from Gulf Manor. All right, Gulf Manor now. I used to live in Gulf Manor. Phyllis says, good afternoon. Shahara always want to attack me. She says, well, you're actually here. Good afternoon. Emanuel and little baby checking in from Bond Hill. I'm just playing. You're not attacking me. I'm just being silly. I did mention on, Wednesday, that I would not be here on Thursday. So I guess if you weren't listening at that moment during the show, which was like the very end of the show, you didn't catch that. But yeah, I did mention that I wouldn't be here yesterday. I had a training seminar. I'm not sure exactly how to classify it, but I went to a thing. Let's see. We got Daryl says she sounds like she not happy. She just being goofy. She's sitting there playing a game. She just being goofy. Ain't nothing wrong with her at all. Let me see. Now I'm wondering, why'd you break that news today on Lincoln's show and not yours? You know, we're the ones on this show that should have heard what happened at the parade first. Oh, that parade. Oh, boy. Are I giving Link more flowers on the show, E? You never know. My Osha checking in from Avondale. She left off the north. It's definitely North Avondale. She wouldn't be in the portion of Avondale that I'm in. She is not producing anything except for herself playing games on my phone. Patricia Rogers says good afternoon. Yo Underwood says good afternoon. Andre says yo from the Fae. From the Fae? What's their new name? They got a new fancy name. It's not the Fae anymore. I don't remember what the fancy name is. Armand Murray. All right, good afternoon, blessings. Brother from the west side. All right, west side. Lewis says, welcome world back in Cincinnati, Ohio. All right. Shahara says she must have missed that. That's what you gotta watch the whole show. Don't miss a minute. TC says, TGIF, she's on her tablet. No, she's on my phone because her phone is dead. Sierra says, hi from Boston. Heading to the camera store. That's a good place to go. I hear an echo. Oh, wait a minute. You might hear an echo. Wait a minute. Hold on. Maybe you shouldn't now. You shouldn't now. Actually, I need to close all of that stuff except for that. So if you were hearing an echo, which you shouldn't have been, but if you were, it should be gone. Myosha says, I am not in North Avondale. I'm in the hood part of Avondale like you. Right. Okay. Note to self, don't go to opening day parade if Lincoln will be there. It was an interesting experience. Spencer says, good afternoon. North College Hill checking in. Yo Underwood says, sounds good. No echo here. All right. Villages of Roll Hill. That's right. That's what they call the Fay now. The Villages of Roll Hill. All right. Oh, I hear the police. Brent Beard says, good afternoon. The afternoon flower givers checking in from Dallas, Texas. Let me see. Phyllis. No, I don't have a tablet. I need to go get one though. Hey everybody from where houses fall off cliffs. Let me see. My lips are not matching the sound. Oh, interesting. Okay. I might have to do something to fix that. I don't like it when everything's not synced up. Black Lion says no echo now. All right, hold on. I think I'm about caught up with everybody. Dwayne says good afternoon from Mount Airy. Oh, come on, scroll. I think that's about everybody. Spencer says the story about opening day was terrible. It was terrible being there. All right, I'm gonna do a refresh, and I hope everything stays the way it is. And hopefully that fixes the sync. So I'm going to do a refresh. If I go away, I'll be right back. But hopefully that won't happen. All right. I hope I'm still here. I have to do that. All right, so all of the messages that were there are now gone, but hopefully the sync is right. Everything matched up. Nikki says it worked. All right, great. So there we go. Yo, host the chat stays positive, no arguments. Now, y'all know today is First Amendment Friday. So we're going to look at a First Amendment audit. Now, look, if you don't like First Amendment audits, I don't mind if you don't watch. But we'll watch it and we'll talk about it. Because I want to get you guys feedback on this, because really people do this for you. But before we get to it, we're not going straight to it. Before we get to it, I got to talk just a little bit about the fire chief being fired. The fire chief was fired, and I don't have a feeling about it one way or the other. I'm not like, yeah, good. They needed to get that fire chief out of here. Fire's been running rampant and they ain't been doing nothing about it. I don't have a, or no, he should stay. He been here. There's been less fires, and that I don't have a. I mean, he's the fire chief. His position is a little different than the police chief. To my knowledge, people from the fire department, they're not out there, beating people up, violating people's rights, anything like that. So it's different. It's different. So yeah, I don't have a feeling about it one way or the other necessarily. But the story, this is from WCPO, Molly Schramm and Christian Leduc? Ledoux? I don't know. I hope I pronounced it right. I'm sure I butchered the last one. The story, Cincinnati Fire Department Chief Michael Washington has been fired. City Manager Cheryl Long said in a press release. And Washington's termination documentation, Long cites a concerning workplace culture that is unwelcome towards women. A workplace culture that is unwelcome towards women. I want to be clear that I do not tolerate discriminatory, hostile, or unfair working environments in any city department. That's good to know. We got to file that one away. That's a good statement. Because the thought here, from my perspective, is if the city manager, Cheryl Long, now, if she sees or hears of discrimination, hostility, or an unfair work environment in any department, they're going to try to fix it. They'll give you a little time to fix it. And then if it doesn't get fixed, the head man in charge of whatever that department may be, the person in charge, you're out of here. So we got to keep that in mind. See, when they do stuff like this is how you know what I'm saying? You judge one thing against another. And, people ask for like fairness and all of that kind of stuff. It should be fair across the board. So, let's say some black police officers begin to feel like there's a hostile work environment in the police department. We would expect the same result, right? What? Black people saying it's a hostile work environment. I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm saying this is hypothetical. Black people saying it's a hostile work environment. Black police officers feel like they're not welcome and all that kind of stuff. And then you're like, yeah, that's the case. They complained about it. Well, send somebody in to fix the problem. You send somebody in to fix the problem don't get dealt with appropriately. And then, police chief, this is you. This is on your watch. You're out of here. So, you look for consistency on things, right? You look for consistency. And I have no reason to disbelieve that Cheryl Long will be consistent as things go on. But let me finish reading the story. I'll start back there. I want to be clear that I do not tolerate discriminatory, hostile, or unfair working environments in any city department. What are you doing? Nothing. Cincinnatians place their trust in the fire department, which is tasked with keeping us all safe. If the workplace culture within the department is unhealthy, that's a violation of community's trust. Okay. Long said that during Washington's tenure, multiple female CFD employees voiced concerns about a workplace culture that allows women to be treated unfairly and with disrespect. Okay. That doesn't sound good. Washington was allegedly ordered to deliver a climate assessment, but it was never conducted. Uh-oh. Women helping women. I'm not against women helping women. And pause here on reading here. I'm not against women helping women. I actually like the idea of women actually helping women. And I'm not even against the organization. I do remember, though, one time, women helping women, people, representatives of that organization, they were in and they were talking about domestic abuse and domestic violence and how to help victims of domestic violence. And I asked a simple question. I remember it was a super simple question, as they were saying, we have all of these resources to help people who are victims of domestic violence. We have shelters that they can go to, and just all kind of resources, just for people who are victims of domestic violence. We got shelters and we have, homes where people can stay and just things to keep people safe. because no one should be subject to domestic violence. No one should be afraid and all of that kind of stuff. And it was all good stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. What if the man is a victim of domestic violence? And there was a silence that fell on the room. And then it was, well, we hope he ends up okay. It's like, do y'all have a place for him to go? If, he's afraid to go home, he's been threatened, somebody, she's going to shoot him or she's going to do something harmful to him. And they were like, well, we hope he ends up okay. I was like, but what about a shelter? Well, no, we don't have no shelter for no men. I was like, okay, that makes sense. You're women helping women, but then don't talk about no one should be a victim of domestic violence. Just say no woman, because that's all you care about. You don't care about the other people who might be victims of domestic violence. But I'm not against women helping women. I'm not against them, but they are what their name says. Don't pretend to be something else, which they were doing up to that point. Anyway, back to the story. Women Helping Women, a social services organization, was brought in to deliver training to CFD. According to Long, both city administration and Women Helping Women were unsatisfied with Washington's implementation of the training, as well as his lack of concern about workplace issues related to women. According to this story, Long said in a memo that Women Helping Women described that the problems lie with key leadership, namely the fire chief, and that language and actions perpetuate a boys club mentality. Oh, you don't want that. The mayor says every employee deserves a safe and fair workplace, and we have to unequivocally reject and rectify violations of that environment. All right. He says, I fully support City Manager Long's decision, and we will continue to support her during our work to make CFD a healthy and welcoming place for women. He probably should have said for all. But I understand that the issue right now is women, so I get it. Along with the alleged failure to improve workplace culture, Long lists additional reasons for Washington's termination, including his unavailability during a major apartment fire in February of 2022, ignoring HR guidance and his lack of accountability. Long said he consistently placed blame on his subordinates. Washington has served as chief since 2021. He spent 30 years with the Cincinnati Fire Department, achieving every rank prior to chief. The former chief released a statement following his firing. He says, I'm thankful for my colleagues at the Cincinnati Fire Department, my friends, and my family for supporting me throughout my 30 years of service to the city of Cincinnati. My time at the department has been one of my life's most rewarding experiences, and I will forever be grateful for my chance to serve. All right. Assistant Fire Chief over the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Operations Division, Stephen Breitfelder, has been named interim chief effective immediately. And of course, the city will hire a third-party firm to conduct a national search for the next permanent chief. All right. Interesting. Again, I hope all things being similar, because all things are not going to be exactly the same in any other situation. But I hope all things being similar going forward, that is the mentality, period. We will not tolerate any discrimination, any hostile work environment, any unfairness. None of that kind of stuff will be tolerated in any city department. And I hope that message is getting out to city employees, be they fire, be they police, be they sanitation, be, any of the departments. I hope you guys are like, hey, yeah, I have to go complain if there's a problem, and then they'll fix the problem. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know who complained. I mean, clearly some women. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they felt the need to complain and what was or wasn't done to rectify the situation. But the bottom line is he's out now. And I hadn't seen in that statement or anywhere else so far him saying what they said is not true. I was set up like a mother. I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him say it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's see. She fired him during Women's History Month. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Since he got fired, does he still get benefits? I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting they did not give him an opportunity to resign. Like, you know how they do. You know how they do. See, are we to assume that what was written in the report got the chief fired? Well, I mean, they said that he didn't do an assessment, apparently, that he had been ordered to do, which, you know, doesn't look good. And, you know, some other things. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say he was railroaded. I can't say he needed to be out of there. I don't know. But it happened, and, you know, we'll see. We'll see well, we probably won't hear about it. Like if he goes to arbitration or something, which he's not eligible for, but if he sues or something like that, we'll see what happens. We probably won't hear about it because, again, it's the fire department. And no disrespect to firemen or fire persons, fire department workers. I don't know what to call them now. I know firemen, some people don't like that. Oh, firemen, what about the women? It's Women's History Month. Okay, all right. Fire people. But I don't know. I mean, what? I hadn't heard, of course, that there were any issues with the fire department, but again, they're fire people, so we probably wouldn't hear about it. We really don't pay much attention to the fire department. And again, for good reason. Good reason. You know, I've never been harassed by a fire person. Say firefighters. But if they're not fighting fires, I don't know. I don't. Somebody said fire personnel. I like fire people. I think we can all agree that they're all people. So fire people. They don't all fight fires. But they're all people. So fire department people. That's what we'll settle on, fire department people. I've never been harassed by a fire department person. Fire department person never beat my ass. You know what I'm saying? I never had an issue. I never called fire department people over to the house because, you know, the house was on fire and they never showed up. That happened to me with the police. It never happened with fire department people. So that's why we don't pay that much attention. That's why we don't pay that much attention. Say, I took some Narcan and I was passed out on the street and the fire department people didn't revive me. Well, you kind of can't say it. You'd be dead if that were the case. So, I don't know. I'm not bent out of shape about it, but I would love to hear his story. I would love to hear his story. Because in my mind, I could imagine him saying, hold on. There is no boys club culture over there. There's no boys club culture over there. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So that is going on. Anybody have any like real thoughts on this, on the fire department people? Anybody have any real thoughts on the fire department people? Anything that's, you know, with him being fired, Tony says, "What up, E-Man? What up, Tony? What up, Tony? Anybody? No thoughts? All hearts and minds are clear on that? All right. Now, it's First Amendment Friday. I have a video here for you from I always say his name wrong. I always say it wrong. The Batousai, Battousai, I believe it is. If you get an opportunity, go to his channel. He has some great content on his channel. Hold on. Okay, before I go to this, let me talk about this. Get this out the way. E-Man, what's up with the lady Moon and Lincoln Ware? I fell out a few years ago. For those of you who don't know, a few years ago, Lincoln and I used to, which by the way, I have to admit, initially I was 100% against this. I was like 100%. I was 110% against broadcasting live with Lincoln at the opening day parade for a few reasons. Reason number one, I don't like parades. I don't get parades. It's people walking. Wait, hey, the next, hey. Some people throw out candy or whatever they wave. Somebody might be riding a little silly car or, but I'm not a parade guy. Hey, little baby, let's go watch some people walk down the street. Okay, I'm not that guy. But, I get it. It's the opening day parade. A lot of people, be down with it. I'd never been to the opening day parade. Never had a desire to go to the opening day parade. Lincoln wanted to live out his childhood again, and he wanted to go to the opening day parade. I was against it. I was 100% against it. Not against us doing it, but just against me being down there with him. I was like, well, what the heck? I can just be at the studio. Why not? That's where I am most of the time. But I believe Jerry Tolliver, oh no, you go with Lincoln and, you can do the setup because, Lincoln don't know how to set nothing up. So you can go and you can do the setup and then you can broadcast with him and y'all just sit there. And I'm like, sit there and do what? Ooh, some people walking by. Ooh, some more people walking by. Ooh, there is yet more people walking by. In my mind, that was what was going to happen. That was just, I wasn't necessarily 100% down with it. But, the boss tell you to do it, so you do it. And of course, me being me, I always try to give 100%. Lincoln being Lincoln, Lincoln was Lincoln. And that Lincoln is in his element when it comes to stuff like that. Y'all know I give Lincoln Ware a hard time. Always gonna give Lincoln Ware a hard time, period. When Lincoln Ware die, I will still be giving Lincoln Ware a hard time. I will be talking about how irritating he is or was to me as opposed to how irritating he is. So, but we go down there and Lincoln is in his element. Like, this is what Lincoln lives for. Lincoln, he loves to be seen and heard, noticed, and touch the people, but not all the people. He liked to touch certain people, white people. He loved to touch white people and, be acknowledged. He loves that. Nothing against that. It might sound like I'm bashing him for it, but some people that's what they do. And that's what Lincoln does. Me, I'm the opposite. You put me in a room full of people, as someone told me earlier today, put me in a room full of people, I will find a corner, go sit in that corner and watch the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool just becoming a part of the scenery. So we get there. This is the first year, because the first year, was kind of uneventful, but it was still fun because it was Lincoln being Lincoln. So, we listened to Lincoln Ware, me and Lincoln Ware, doing some interacting. Actually, the first couple of years, I don't think I went with him. I think I was at the studio. But then Jerry Tolliver decided I need to be down there. And Lincoln is doing what Lincoln does, and it's amazing, and it's fun, and it's funny. I wasn't necessarily enjoying the parade because it's just people walking by, but I was enjoying watching the interactions between Lincoln and the people. And that was basically all I did, was comment on Lincoln's interactions with the people, because I was fascinated by that. But Lincoln is at his best in that type of element. A few years go by. We get used to doing it. And then this particular year, oh boy, I don't know. That lady, she had been there every year, but that lady was just so, she had a few. She clearly has some issues as well, but she had a few. But I'm not going to get into the specifics of what happened. I mentioned that earlier today on the Lincoln Ware Show, but eventually I grew to thoroughly enjoy broadcasting live at the opening day parade with Lincoln Ware. Eventually, I grew to thoroughly enjoy it, even look forward to it. Like, the opening day parade, I'm going to be down there broadcasting with Lincoln Ware, because every year something happened, not to that magnitude, but every year something happened, and I was thoroughly entertained. One year, Lincoln could not recognize, it was a particularly sunny day, and a lot of people had on sunglasses. And I'm telling y'all, Lincoln could not recognize people with sunglasses on. I remember, and I don't invoke his name very often, but I remember Nathan Ivey. The man worked with us. He worked with us. He came up, I'm not lying, I'm not exaggerating. He had on sunglasses. He came up and he spoke to Lincoln Ware. Hey, what's up, Lincoln? Whatever he called him, Link or Lincoln or whatever. And Lincoln just shook his hand like he was a stranger, like, hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you, whatever. And Nathan kind of stopped and looked like, what? And I was like, nice to meet. That's Nathan. And Lincoln, what? Oh, I didn't recognize him. He had on those sunglasses. How do you not recognize somebody that you see every day because they have on sunglasses? So it was always something interesting, always something funny that happened down there just from Lincoln being Lincoln. I grew to look forward to it and be it. Lincoln won that same day. And y'all gonna think I'm lying. Y'all gonna think I'm making this up. One of Lincoln Ware's cousins came up to him with sunglasses on. Like, hi, Lincoln. And Lincoln, hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And she was like, what you mean nice to meet me? Nice to meet you. What? And she's standing there, she takes off the glasses, and he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, how did you not recognize that? That's my cousin. How did you not recognize your cousin? Because she had on glasses. Like, you are the only person in the world who would have been fooled by Clark Kent. Like, what? He ain't no Superman. He got on glasses. Everybody else would have been like, nigga, that's Superman. You know what I'm saying? They the same dude. No, see, look at him. And then look at him. He got on glasses. So every year, it was something hilarious that I learned about Lincoln Ware. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, no, that year. Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call coming in. Can't not take a call. Hold on. Let's see. They made me do a thing, so I got to do my audio settings. Key!
Emanuel, I'm over here on the floor hollering. I am hollering with your Lincoln impersonations, man. You be cracking me up. I'm like, he is hilarious.
I'm just telling the truth.
But it's so hilarious. Oh, you got me in tears over here. I'm like, goodness gracious, Emanuel is a trip. I was just calling support and saying hey and just letting you know I'm listening to you over here cracking up at your impressions of Lincoln.
He legit will not recognize you if you have on sunglasses. He won't.
So did he not recognize you? Have you ever wore sunglasses? He not know who you was?
No, I don't typically, wear glasses or sunglasses around him. But He didn't recognize Nathan Ivey, who we worked with every day. He didn't recognize his cousin, who he sees
Right.
all the time. He legit just did not recognize them until they took off their glasses, and then that's you. I see you had on it was the glasses. If you didn't have on the glasses, then and I'm like, bruh.
Oh, I got to go. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I needed this one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Emanuel, you are hilarious. Oh, man, you should get into imitating or something.
Oh,
What's
my
that
goodness.
called when you can imitate somebody's voice?
I do a horrible
stuff?
Huh?
What's the call where you can imitate somebody's voice? What they call it?
The impersonations.
Okay, yeah.
I do amazing. Yeah. Like my Martin Luther King impersonation was so good that people was like, when did Martin Luther King give that speech? And I was like, that was me. And then they called and complained because of the stuff that I was saying, because they actually thought it was Martin Luther King. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, you keep it up, okay? Now earlier, did you say something was going on? You can't, because I don't see the chat. You can't pull it up or something.
Oh, I didn't put the chat up. Okay, my bad. I'll put the chat up.
Oh, okay. Because
I
was about to tell you something, but I was like, I don't want to say because I don't know what the chat talking about.
All right, there it is. The chat is up now. It is up.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, Keith,
all right.
I appreciate you and all of your support.
All righty. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the same.
Okay. Bye.
All right. That was key. Hold on, let me. Okay. But yeah, no, it was very interesting. I do good impersonations. You know, I do a really good Barack Obama. I had to hear Barack Obama. See, I had to hear the person, and then I can do the impersonation. And I had to, like, if I was there with Lincoln on a regular basis, then my Lincoln Ware impersonation would be much better. It would be much better. But I did a mean Barack Obama. I did a mean Martin Luther King. I do a mean Mike Tyson. All the easy ones. And then the year that Cherie Palello ignored him. Oh, y'all don't understand how beautiful that was. And if you listened that year, you heard him yelling like a little schoolgirl for Cherie Palello. I think she was on the Channel 5 float as they were going by. The Channel 5 float. Cherie Palello. And Cherie looked at him. And he is over there waving his hand with the mic. And Cherie Palello at the big tent. He's going bonkers. And she looks at him and she just keeps, and he didn't recognize, like, she's ignoring me. And he just kept screaming, Cherie Palello. And she just kept ignoring him. It was hilarious. The time he tried to hula hoop, swore to me he was the best hula hoop person ever. And the girls with the hula hoops came over and they was hula hooping. And he, watch me, I'ma do it. And he did it and he started and it fell right to the ground. He picked it up and fell. Eventually the girl was like, I need my hula hoop. They getting away. I'm telling y'all, I grew to thoroughly enjoy the opening day parade. But I know Lincoln Ware loves it. And, you know, hopefully everything goes well with the parade this year. He will be super excited to be in it. Y'all know we stopped doing the parade. The buzz, the reason why we stopped broadcasting from the Reds opening day parade, it was a simple reason. And I was a little irritated with it because it was stupid. You know, I had grew to enjoy the opening day parade. And then Jerry Tolliver, I think that Jerry wasn't there. Yeah, Jerry had left. And we got a new promotions director. Both of which, the promotions director was from Cleveland. And the new PD/general manager was from Chicago, I do believe. We talked about doing the parade. Lincoln was like, we got to get in the parade. We got to be down there. We got to be around. And they were like, no. We were like, why? And they said, opening day parade for a baseball team, that ain't that big of a deal. Well, nobody care about no opening day parade for no baseball team. And we were like, maybe in Cleveland they don't. Maybe in Chicago they don't. But in Cincinnati, that's kind of a big deal. Like, don't nobody care about that. So they never put in the application to have the station vehicles and be a part of it. And then so Lincoln was like, well, I want to go broadcast anyway. No, we don't want to allocate resources to that. And he was like, well, what resources would need to be allocated? Me and Emanuel go down there. The fish bar place donates us the line, so we use their line. And whoever is back here, they run the board. There's no resources that goes with it. Well, but we have to send somebody down there, a promotions tech to set it up. And so we had to pay them. And Lincoln was like, no, you don't have to do that. Emanuel sets everything up. They didn't believe that I knew how to set stuff up. They were new. They didn't know. Said, oh no, we had to send our own person. And it was crazy. So we had a new general manager who also wasn't from here. And he didn't see where it was a big deal either. So everybody was like, nah, don't even worry about it. Then, of course, when the opening day parade happened, they were like, well, can y'all get down there? This is a big deal. It's all over the news. It's this, it's that. And everybody was like, no, it's too late. They done shut streets down. They're trying to get down there and set everything up. No, y'all just missed it. Y'all missed it because y'all didn't want to listen to people who know what they talking about. Y'all missed it. And then I think they spent the next 3 years trying to get back into the parade. Because once you kind of lose your spot, it's hard to get back in. So they spent the next 3 years trying to get back into the parade. And then, of course, eventually they did. But we never started back broadcasting because I think at that point, Alabama Fish was shut down and they was like, well, where are we going to get the line from? And I had ideas of things that we can do, but I was kind of over it by then. So I just let them make the decision that it couldn't happen and it stopped happening. So that was why, just people who did not want to listen to the people who were there. And none of somebody said, are they still there? None of those people are still at Radio 1 Cincinnati. They've either all moved on or they were all let go or something like that. But yeah, no, we didn't know what we were talking about. We were just people from Cincinnati. The other people who were not from Cincinnati. We are from Cleveland and we do baseball. So we know how, and don't nobody care about no opening day parade. No, we from Chicago. We do baseball. We got 2 teams and don't nobody care about no opening day parade. Well, I'm from wherever he was from and I know baseball and don't nobody care about but ain't none of y'all from Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a weird little place and they really give a damn about the opening day parade for some strange reason. So that was what happened with that. Okay. Now, see, I gave people hopefully enough time to say, all right, I might want to watch, I might not want to watch. I'm going to do this First Amendment audit on First Amendment Friday. We'll do First Amendment Fridays. This is an older audit. This guy, his name is Turner, last name Turner. I don't remember his first name for whatever reason. It's escaping me. And he's been doing audits for years. He's actually sued a number of police departments and he has, made case law. There's a lawsuit, Turner versus Driver, I don't remember which district. that is a big deal with how police are allowed to deal with citizens. It's a huge deal. He goes by, again, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, the Batusai, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. But if you're into First Amendment audits or you want to learn more, he is one of the best. One of the best. You want to check him out. Again, this is an older audit. This is out of Austin, Texas. Here is one thing that you have to remember before watching the audit, and remember this during the audit. In Texas, he's in Austin, Texas for this particular audit. In Texas, they have a law where you do not have to identify to police unless you have been arrested. Like, oh, we suspect you of committing a crime. Am I under arrest? No, but I want your ID. You don't have to give them your ID in Texas unless you've been arrested. Not they're about to arrest you. Once you are under arrest, that's when you become obligated to give ID. It's a weird little thing. I mean, I think it's a pretty good law, actually, but it's a weird Texas law. I don't know if any other states have that law, but that's very important to pay attention to hang on to as you watch this audit. I'm going to skip past some of the beginning because he is standing in a public area with a camera recording the police department. That's all he's doing. In a public area where he is allowed to be with a camera recording the building, the police department, the comings and the goings, which, by the way, you're allowed to do. That is perfectly legal. And before I start the audit, I want to ask, hold on, let me clear this. I still got in the chat, in my captions, I still got Key up there. She is no longer on the phone. Before I start this audit, I want to ask, is there anyone against that? Are there any of you who are like, hey, it should be against the law to stand in the public and record the police department? Anyone? Just, throw a hand up, say me, something like that. Anybody out there watching believes that it should be against the law to stand on the sidewalk in front of the police department with a camera recording the police department? Anyone? Just a hand up, say me, anyone at all. Because that's the law. You can do that. In case you didn't know that, you can do that. And that's all he was doing in this video. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm not going to have any other audio jumping in once I do this. All right. Looks like everything should be okay. Hold on. Do that. All right. Well, so let's get it started. First Amendment Fridays. I'm going to take the chat down. And let's look at this. Let's go. Again, he's just watching. He's just watching.
All right, well,
forward a little bit.
We're trying to
back that up a little bit. All right. And the police are about to approach him.
Sir, how are you? I'm Officer Tripp. I'm with Austin Police. This is Officer Smith.
how's it going?
What's going on today?
Can you talk or you just don't want to talk? out on you is you caused kind of a scare up here, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. So you videotaping for a reason, or what's going on?
Now, I'm going to pause a little bit here and there in the video. This is a common tactic that a number of auditors, and I'm using the term auditors. Everyone doesn't use the term auditor. I don't even know if he considers himself an auditor. But this is a common tactic. You're not required to talk to police because they walk up to you and ask you questions. And so he's exercising his right to remain silent until he decides not to. All right.
You don't want to talk to us at all, or you just want to videotape? Videotaping us is fine. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We don't have this happen every day, so.
Okay, let's go ahead and ID this gentleman.
Do you have an ID on you at all? Sir, listen. We're trying to cooperate with you, okay? But you got to cooperate with us. You can videotape all you want, but you're being suspicious right now. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So if you have an ID with you, that'd be fine. We'd love for you to give it to us so we can find out what's going on.
Again, keep in mind, he has not broken any laws, just in the public recording. And they say, we need you to cooperate. But we want you to cooperate with us, and we'll cooperate with you.
Hey, sir.
Am I doing anything illegal?
Yes, based on
What am I doing that's illegal?
But based on your suspicious activity, we're going to.
Okay, did y'all catch that? He says, am I doing anything illegal? The officer, who's the one in charge with the Dallas Cowboys shirt on, he says, yes. Then the question was, what am I doing illegal? And then he said, well, you're not doing anything illegal, but that's important.
Go ahead and ID you. If you have no warrants or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and wish you a good day, and we're going to be on our way.
Am I under arrest?
No, you're not under arrest, but you are being detained. There's no two ways about it.
All right, well, if I'm being detained, y'all can go ahead and do your investigation, but I'm just going to stay here and
That's fine.
exercise my Fifth Amendment right. Just stay here, and if I'm not doing anything wrong, then there's no reason for y'all to be here.
We're going to go ahead and ID you one way or the other.
Now, remember, he asked him a simple question. Am I under arrest? He's going to ask that question a number of times. Remember, 3802 in Texas, you don't have to ID unless you're under arrest. If they really wanted his ID, all they had to do was say, you're under arrest. But they know they don't really have a reason to arrest him.
It's up to you.
What do you mean one way or the other?
Pardon me?
What do you mean one way or the other?
One way or the other. If we have to take you downtown and fingerprint you, we'll do that. You're being detained for investigative purposes right now. Believe me, I know the law better than you. So you can film all you want. You can set it up however you want. We're going to ID you. But until we do that, you're not free to go.
Texas is not a stop and ID state, is it?
Guys, go ahead and frisk this gentleman. Make sure that he doesn't have any weapons on him.
I have no weapons, and I do not consent to
Go ahead and
searches.
frisk him, like I said. Make sure he has no weapons on him.
I don't consent to
And then
searches.
he can either provide us his information willingly, or we can do it through the ID section downtown.
You have any
Under
weapons on you at
what
all?
gives you the authority to do that?
Go ahead and get this done, guys. I'm not
Go
going to
ahead and
argue with
stand
this
up
guy.
You're violating my Fourth Amendment. You know that, right?
Stand up.
You do
Stand up
what you
for
need
us.
to do, and we'll do what we need to do, buddy.
You have anything on you that we need to know about? Knives, guns,
I have,
weapons?
I have nothing. I'm just holding my hands out.
He
Just put your hands back behind you. You can put the camera down and film us while we're doing this if you want
We're
to.
not doing
Am I
this
under
like
arrest? That's
like
what I'm
think
asking.
he's
You're being detained. And during the detention, you can be frisked for safety.
If he won't put it down, handcuff him.
Here, I'll put my hands right here. Is that fine?
If he won't do it willingly, handcuff him.
Put your hands behind your back for us.
There we go.
Come back here.
There we go.
You're not being
I
handcuffed
know
right
you're
now.
used to this going one way based on the YouTube education you've gotten, but that's not how we do it, okay? We're going to do this according to our policy and according to law.
It's a public area, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Cell phone.
Yep.
You have a wallet on you? An ID at all?
I'm not answering any more questions unless I'm being under arrest.
You're being detained, which means
Okay.
you.
If he has an ID, we have
You
every
don't have an
right
ID at all.
to we have every right to look at it. It's not an issue, guys.
Come on the back of you. There. That'll work.
And the one giving all of the instructions, he's the one in charge.
Set it right here so it doesn't interfere with the
The
camera.
other
okay?
officers are a little leery, like, this might not be
You're
legal.
filming this, and so are we. So we have two separate angles. You're
All
good
right.
to go.
Relax.
Am I good?
You don't have an ID on you, so what's your... Let me get pen and paper here. You from Austin originally?
I'm not answering any questions.
When you're stopped by reasonable suspicion by peace officers in the state of
can I have a
Texas,
sit here?
No, you can stand there for a second until we're finished. When you're stopped by police officers in the state of Texas for reasonable suspicion, you're required to give minimal identifying information, that being your name and your date of birth. So we'll start there.
Well, what pinnacle is that?
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm just asking.
If he doesn't want to do it, go ahead and put him in handcuffs, and we can do it until we find him on the system. That's the way it goes. Suspicious people, suspicious places, suspicious circumstances. The Code of Criminal Procedure gives us that authority. I've been doing this a lot longer than you've been doing that. So we can go one way or the other. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to get in a debate with you. I know that this makes great fodder on YouTube. I know that it's wonderful to post your videos, and it seems like, oh my God, the sky's crashing down, Big Brother and all that. But we're simply trying to do our jobs. We're going to do that with or without your cooperation. So how we proceed from here is 100% up to you. How do you want to do it?
Am I doing anything wrong? It's just a question. It's just a question.
Set that down?
Yeah.
I know this isn't going
Now
the way
you're
you thought
violating
it
my
was
First
gonna go.
Amendment right.
I know it's not the way you thought it was going to go.
This is not how it's supposed to go.
Okay, don't
You
fight
can
this.
either put the camera down or we'll take it from you. Now, you want me to make sure it's filming? I'll fix the screen so you can see. Does that work for you? I noticed you didn't want to talk or answer questions unless it was asking questions of us. I found that to be especially
Well,
interesting.
you're arresting me, right?
No, you're not under arrest. You're being detained. Investigatively detained. If you'd like, I
He
can
keeps
explain the
asking,
difference.
am I under
Texas is not a
arrest?
stop in that D state.
Okay, thanks for telling me the law. Now let me tell you what's going to happen. We're going to detain you until we have been able to properly identify you. If we're able to properly identify you and there's no warrants or any other reason to hold you, we'll cut you loose, as is our prerogative, as is held by the state of Texas law, the United States Constitution, and, by the way, Austin Police Department policy and procedures. Now, how we proceed, again, I'm going to put it to you. It's up to you. You can either willingly give us your name and date of birth, or you can continue to take this stand that you're taking, which will do you no good other than delaying your freedom to go. So tell me again, do you want to give us your name and date of birth, or do you want us to detain you further until we can specifically identify you and make sure that there is nothing more to this than what meets the eye?
Am I under arrest?
You are being detained. Okay. I've said it again. If you want me to get closer to the camera so I could say it into the speaker, I'll do that. However, I think it's been made clear to you that you're being detained for investigative purposes. You will not be released until we can positively identify you. Does that sound like it's clear now? Whether you agree with it or not, are you understanding what I'm saying to you?
You should be familiar with Penal Code 3802. You should be familiar with that.
I appreciate you telling me what I should and should not do.
Okay.
But here's what we're going to do.
Going to follow
Have
that.
him sit in the back of the car, and let's go ahead and figure out who he is. Once we do that, we'll go from there.
Step over here.
Here, take his camera. Make sure he keeps that with him.
Can I hold on to it or no?
Now, at some point, I might jump forward a little bit.
This car is filming.
But there's a little bit of dialogue that I want you to hear.
No, we're gonna put you in air-conditioned comfort.
But I am going to pause right here. He asked him a question about him putting him in the car. And he told him, no, we're going to put you in air-conditioned comfort. And keep in mind, this guy, Philip Turner, sued. I don't remember which department it was, because he was doing the same thing. They put him asking for ID. They arrested him. They put him in the back of the police car in the middle of the summer in Texas with no air conditioner on and left him there for a while. He sued that department. If you want to look up Turner versus Driver, he sued that department and totally checked there. Of course, they never were really allowed to do that, but that particular case came up. There were more things that came out of that particular case. So when he's telling this guy, no, we're going to put you in air-conditioned comfort. I believe this was just after that that decision came down. So he knew there was just a lawsuit about putting somebody in what they call it, a hot box, putting him in the hot box. So I want to make sure to make it clear that I'm not hot boxing him. But he didn't understand, more than likely didn't understand, that the guy who was responsible for that lawsuit decision that had just come down, he was messing with again over some other nonsense. So it's a lot of little twists to this one, which is kind of why I chose this one. But yeah, the fact that he says we're putting you in air-conditioned comfort, he doesn't understand. The reason why he had to make that clear was because of this guy.
No, actually, you're actually dictating how we treat you at this point. If you would like to leave, just tell us your name, date of birth. We'll make sure that you don't have any warrants or warrants. We'll make sure that there's no other suspicious activity we need to investigate, and you'll be free to go. If you want to play this out and make a statement, you can go ahead and do that. It's just going to delay you being able to leave freely. All right, there we go. You take me down? Figure out who he is. Did he have anything in his pockets that with any kind of identifying information on? Okay. Well, it's up to you.
There's going to be a lot of just sitting around, but some conversation is about to happen that I think is important.
Can I answer any questions, sir?
So how are you expecting this to play out? Tell me that.
I mean, until y'all arrest me until y'all find a crime to
So in
arrest
other
me
words,
for.
you're just trying to get us to arrest you for no reason. That's pretty much it, right?
It's pretty much what I'm in right now.
No, you're being detained. There's a difference between being detained and being under arrest. A detention usually yields an investigation.
Well, y'all can investigate. I'm just
And
using
that's
my
what we're
Fifth
trying
Amendment
do,
right
but
to be
you're not-
quiet.
But you're not helping us out with this at all.
I have the right to use my Fifth Amendment right now.
Okay?
Y'all didn't state any crime that I broke, but I'm in handcuffs.
But you do understand a detention. What is it? What do you understand as a detention?
You guys are just holding me, but you got me in handcuffs.
No.
I was
Give me-
perfectly fine right there.
If you know everything that you're supposed to know about the law, give me the law on detention.
You can hold me for whatever purpose, but you have to suspect me of committing a crime.
No.
No?
No.
What's your name and badge number?
My name is Officer Smith. My badge number is 6981. The suspicion.
What's your badge number and name, sir? 6173. What's your name? I can't hear you, sir. I'm sorry? I can't hear you. What's your name, sir, and badge number?
Yes, sir. Trip.
And it's going to be on a report. So if you need to get a report number too, you can get all our names and numbers on a report number.
Didn't do anything
We're
wrong.
not trying to do anything to you that you're not trying to do to us.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Sir, listen. If somebody's walking around your house, even into your house, and you think they're suspicious because they're doing something suspicious, wouldn't that raise an eyebrow for you?
If they're on public property, what?
No, don't even go there.
It is.
If somebody's
Was I not on
staring-
public property?
If somebody's staring at your house,
Was I not on public property?
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
If somebody's staring at your house, you're going to call the PD to come and check on and see what that person's doing.
No.
The person sitting in front of your house staring through your window. Am I right?
No.
You're not.
I'll be armed, but in that case, if I were to call the police, you guys would probably be too late.
Really?
Yes.
Possibly. You probably walked off. But what if we weren't late? Suspicious persons, suspicious activities. Tell me about that law.
You can sit there and ask me questions all you want
Well,
to.
you're telling me you know the law from here and there. I'm just trying to figure out if you know exactly what's going on.
Well, I'm just gonna sit here until y'all finish what y'all doing.
Okay. You can go quick and easy right now if you just give a name and date of birth.
I got all the time in the
If
world.
not, we're going down to our main station, get your fingerprint and figure out who you are. suspicious activity?
That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Suspicious activity? Are you telling me?
That does not override the Fourth Amendment.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive.
How are you positive?
Positive.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know you from anybody else that I'm standing around here with in this parking lot. And with the suspicious activity that you were doing, I don't know if you're trying to do something to the building or if you have some kind of a mental ailment that we need to address or get addressed or some kind of medical issue that needs to be addressed.
Now he's trying to pull out medical history. They try to do all kind of stuff. There's a lot of that little back and forth going on in the video. Oh, no, I'm going to fast forward because but just understand that there's a lot of little conversation that goes on. A little back and forth. Let's see if I can start here. Remember, he kept asking him, am I under arrest? Because 3802 in Texas, you don't have to give your ID if you're not under arrest. Let's see if this is where I want to start. Still sitting there. He's still talking. The idea that I can just come and snatch you up because of suspicion, not suspicion of a crime. Because that's you're supposed to have reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has happened, is happening, or is about to happen. Not just, ooh, that looks suspicious. They always forget that crime part. That lead officer says this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Your YouTube education, you're wrong. I'm right. I've been doing this longer than you. We're going to ID you one way or the other. You're going to give us your ID before you leave here.
You're not going to cooperate on our digital. You got anything?
Here he comes.
Okay. Sir. All right. I just want to ask you one more time. Your name and your date of birth. Will you please give us that? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to document this entire stop in a report. It's also documented on our digital mobile audio video. I'm quite aware that you have it documented on your personal camera. We're going to write a report. We're happy to give you the case number. If you'd like to buy a copy of the report, it'll be available to you at any police facility or online for that matter. We're then going to release you from the scene. You're not going to cooperate with us. We're going to have to put you down on a report as unknown or John Doe, whatever you choose, whatever you prefer. And from there, you'll be cut loose. I would caution you, when you find yourself in a position where you're filming a government installation like a police station, you're filming people's plates, you're filming cars, you put yourself in a position where if somebody makes a complaint against you for doing that, it becomes a different situation. It can become a criminal offense if they feel like you're stealing any kind of identifying information. Us, you can take pictures of these cars all day long and document on video and everything else, license plates and everything else, because those are a matter of public record. Now, you're absolutely 100% correct. You're not in violation of failure to ID laws. That was never the point. The point is the police have a reasonable right.
Okay, wait a minute. That was very key. He says you are absolutely 100% correct. You are not in violation of failure to ID. That was never the point. That was never the point. That's what he said. But if y'all remember in the beginning of the video, the whole point was, he asked him, did I do anything wrong? Initially he said, yeah. And then he said, well, no, but we're going to ID you one way or the other. This ain't going to go the way you think it's going to go. We're going to ID you. Did I do something wrong? We're going to ID you. But now, that was never the point. He asked him, like, don't you know about 3802? He said, we're going to ID you. But now, that was never the point. That was never the point. Oh, no, back that up just a hair.
Everything else, license plates and everything else, because those are a matter of public record. Now, you're absolutely 100% correct. You're not in violation of failure to ID laws. That was never the point. The point is the police have a reasonable right to stop you based on the Code of Criminal Procedure when we find you to be a suspicious person in a suspicious place under suspicious circumstances. In this case, we have 2 of those. It was suspicious seeing you outside filming our installation and the plates and the cars and the people coming in and out of the building. And that was a suspicious circumstance based on that. That's why you were stopped. That's why you were ID'd. We could not ID you, placed you in handcuffs for officer safety, placed you in the car. We could never come to an agreement on getting your ID. So at this point, there's not much we can really do. We're gonna have to part ways and go on with our lives. Again, you're more than welcome to any kind of documentation. You can discuss this with anybody else you would like to. If you want to complain for anything, that's certainly available to you. And there's plenty of documentation, so the record will stand as it is. Do you have any questions for me? No questions. Free? You will be free just 1 minute after we take the handcuffs off. Fair enough? All right, very good. Thank you.
Second. So I'm putting the camera on. Come on. So fix the windshield. Fix the windshield.
I always notice they're really quick to put those handcuffs on, but they really slow when they come to taking them off. Even once they realize we got nothing, you're free to go, it's taking them a long time to get those handcuffs off.
You go ahead, relax.
Here's your property.
And of course, he goes right back to doing what he was initially doing, which they don't particularly care for. That, by the way, is called the drive of shame. So there you go. There you go. First Amendment Fridays. Like I said, that's an older one, but I think that one is a really good one. I always like him. I always like him because he does a great job of staying calm. He keeps a nice, calm demeanor. He keeps his voice nice and calm. Not that you have to do that, but he does. And I always like it that he makes the decision to do that. I always like that about him. He did, by the way, sue. And of course he won. I don't remember all of the details of it, but yes, he did sue and he did win. He did sue and he did win. And you know, watching that, of course, you have to know that it's gonna happen. It was gonna happen. But now, how many of y'all are watching this thinking all of that was unnecessary on his part? Like, why was he even there? Hold on, let me ask you this. Do you believe, just the honest question, do you believe that what he and people who do things like that, do you believe they are baiting the police? Is it bait or no bait? Bait, he is baiting the police, or no bait, he's just exercising his rights and the police should leave him alone. Do you believe people who do things like this, would you look at them and say, they're baiters? He's out there baiting the police. Nikki says bait. Okay. LaDonna says, I feel like he was. I felt like he was. You felt like he was baiting. Okay. Kenneth says, no bait. Nikki says, but it is their right to do it. Brent says, it's bait. No bait. I see it as quality control. Andre says, bait, but it's his right. Tria says, no bait. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I got a call coming in. Let me grab this phone call. CK.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Livingston?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh my God, I just watched that movie you just showed, that Friday night flick. The debate car.
First Amendment Friday.
Yeah, First Amendment Friday.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was, excuse the children, but listen, I was absolutely freaking appalled by how they treated that man. That's what you call excessive force. They using excessive force with that dude. You put him in handcuffs and kidnapped him.
I don't know if I would call that excessive force. Excessive force.
But you got to remember, Emanuel, whenever you tell somebody they can't leave, that's kidnapping. You know what I mean? Then you put the handcuffs on, boom, that's trauma. Come on now, PTSD, slavery. I'm a black man. Don't never put me in handcuffs unless I committed a crime.
Well,
right?
I mean, it was.
You got to give me the white people treatment.
It was definitely an illegal detainment, no doubt about that.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say it was unnecessary force in the way that I think of unnecessary force. Did they have to put him in cuffs? He was clearly not any sort of a threat physically to any of them. He was very cooperative. So I guess you could say just the force of putting on cuffs was unnecessary.
Yeah, that's where you're going too far. Never put nobody in handcuffs now. That is assault. Come on now, you can get 20, 30 years for that. Don't do that. If you're going to put somebody in cuffs, make sure you got the right person, the criminal. Because that guy, you just talk to him. You don't put him in cuffs because you see the backlash. Lawsuit, money.
Okay.
You don't never put him in cuffs. You got to go by the rules now. Because now just imagine how is he going to go through life now after what he's been through in the back of that police car.
Well, he's gonna go through life fine, but I for someone else, I could see it being a issue, traumatizing.
Right, he's traumatized. That's why he sued him, because he was traumatized. He know the law. So by you actually doing that, that's like killing the woman, the head of drunk driving. You drunk driving and you killed him. Why would you do that to the person that they do that for a living? You know what I mean? He's an expert. So if you're going to, at least if you're going to be a criminal and harass people, you better harass people that don't know the law.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? You took that man whole human rights away from him. It's like, but how much did he get from the lawsuit?
I don't remember. I'll look that up. Maybe I should have looked that up before I played the video because it is an older video. But I will look that up. But again, he did sue. He did win. And there was I know at least for that officer who was the one in charge, lock him up, or whatever. I don't remember the exact terminology there. Hook him up, put him in the car, go frisky. Mr. with the snaps and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think the police officers deserve their job, or you think they should be terminated?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they don't deserve their job. I would say that whoever that guy is who was a supervisor, he definitely deserves to be heavily demoted, be suspended, lose some time and some money. And the other guys, they all need to be trained a lot better Because I think a lot of this really does come down to, and I hate to say it, but a lot of this comes down to training. Like the fact that he knows the law better than the people who we charge with enforcing the law. You're supposed to enforce the law, but you don't even know what you're enforcing. How can you enforce it if you don't even know what it is? How can you just look at someone and say, look, you got to give me your ID when the law says that I don't? But you don't know the law. So, how can you? That's problematic. So I think it's very important that police get more training. Now, if I know that you know, and now you're still violating the law, then that's another issue. But I think it's quite possible.
That's it right there.
It's quite possible, though, that they honestly didn't know, which is sad.
Oh, no, you're making excuses. Now, you got to understand, they know the law. The only reason is not about the training, it's about the race of the man's skin.
No,
you know what I think? You got to think if that was a white lady doing the same thing, she would not be in handcuffs.
No. I'm here to tell you that that's not necessarily true. I watch First Amendment audits and I see white ladies, white men, little bitty ladies, old people. There's a whole community of people who do First Amendment audits. A whole community. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and a lot of them get treated this exact same way or worse.
So you're saying he's not a victim of his skin color?
No, I have seen them take an old white lady and put her in cuffs for doing the exact same thing.
Because, man, when I was looking at it, it looked like they was just mistreating another black man. So you say this goes on in all cultures.
Yes, it does.
Man, hey, you got to keep fighting the good fight, but you got to remember, man, if you put handcuffs on somebody, that's a civil rights violation. That's kidnapping. You can get life for that. So I would recommend, better practices, and I pray that he makes a healthy recovery, because I know he going through it. You talk about therapy. Imagine how many hours of therapy he needs for going through that.
He's
and that wasn't nothing but a few minutes.
No, he's really not. He's fine. This is what this is what he does. So when you go
he's been arrested before.
Yes.
Oh, I got you. Hey man, keep educating the people, man. I'm gonna keep listening, man.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one. All right, that's CK. CK thought, maybe it was a little bit more than what I was saying. Hold on. I gotta put this up here. I can't type and talk at the same time. So, a number of you said that he was baiting. He was baiting. And I'm not sure that I agree. I'm not sure that I agree that he was baiting. Look, if I go stand on the corner of the street with a camera, who am I baiting? How is that baiting anyone? I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not drawing extra attention to myself. I'm just standing there. What do we determine is baiting? Is it baiting if you just minding your business, doing something that you're legally allowed to do? How do we look at that and say that's a bait for police to do something? If I want to go stand outside the police department and film cars coming and going, there's no law against that. I'm not like hiding in the bushes doing it. I'm standing out, clearly visible to everyone on the sidewalk with a camera. How is that baiting? Let's see. Because he knew standing there and filming would alert officers. Walking down the street will alert officers. Driving your car will alert officers. What did he do that y'all looking at it and saying, because to me, baiting is saying this is an attempt to get someone to do something that they normally wouldn't do. What did, in your mind, and there's no wrong answers here. I'm asking the question. What did he do? Again, just standing there with a camera in broad daylight. He wasn't at night. Again, he wasn't hiding in the bushes. He wasn't, in all black, even though he could be, with his face covered up, prowling, standing there, dressed the way he was dressed, normal, recording. Let's see. Will says, I'd rather him do this when they have someone pulled over or while there's an incident going on. Just doing this and then suing, homie found the ultimate hustle, but it's using taxpayer money. Okay. I'll address that in a minute because that's an interesting comment. But I want to understand when y'all like baiting. What do you think he's doing to bait? What do you think he's doing to bait? But when I think of baiting, I think of a fish, right? You go fishing. You put a worm or whatever on the line in an attempt to make the fish believe that this is food. I mean, you're saying to the fish, your natural inclination is to eat food. So I'm going to put something to convince you that there's food so that you will eat it. And then I got you. Now, isn't the only thing that a law enforcement official is supposed to stop you for or detain you for is if they suspect that there's an actual crime going on? If I'm standing here in public where I'm allowed to be doing something that I'm allowed to do, I don't have a worm on the hook. Because the worm is, a crime is being committed. Now, if I did something and put myself in a situation where it looked like I was committing a crime, but I actually wasn't, that's baiting, in my opinion. You knew that wearing that mask, running up to that lady, snatching her purse, even though that's your wife, and then running, you knew that that looked like a crime. You did that. That was baiting us to come and get you. That I get. That's baiting. But there's no worm on the hook. There's no law broken. That's like the fish looking at the hook like, because remember he asked him, did I do anything wrong? And the police officer initially said yes, but then he said, well, no, you didn't do anything wrong. So that's the fish looking at the hook saying, ain't no food on that damn hook. Then how is that bait? Oh, got a call coming in. Caller.
Hey, what's going on, E-Man? How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good.
That's good. Hey, I was going to say, since you want to be so technical, we're not going to say bait. How about just being difficult for no reason? Now, we all know they bogus, and us, we know what they were doing was wrong. But at the same time, if you know you ain't do nothing wrong, and you clean, and you all the way legit, why even give them a reason to keep giving you mess? Like, why even give them a reason to keep asking you questions to even put yourself in that situation?
So, wait a minute. So you saying, and this is a question, so you can say, no, that's not what I'm saying. So it sounds to me like you're saying, look, if the police roll up on you and you ain't did nothing wrong and they ask you for your name and address, just give it to them.
They asked for his name and address, asking for his ID. Now, I'm saying it's wrong for them to do that, but to avoid all that he just went through, and anything that could have potentially been worse, bro, you already good. Just give them your ID so you can slide on up out of there. Don't even give them no reason.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Right, but the law is not on the side of that. But you're saying
right, but I mean, you got to pick and choose your battles. Is it really worth? Is it really worth that?
It was to him, but you're saying maybe to you, your rights aren't that important to you.
No, I'm not saying my rights ain't important to me. I'm just saying some things.
Like your rights.
We all been. I mean, sometimes you got to pick and choose your battles. Now, while he was doing that, in his mind all along, he might have been thinking at the end of it, I'm gonna sue them after all this. Me,
and he did.
I wouldn't have been thinking about suing them in the midst of it, because I would have been trying to slide up out of there just to get out their face. I already know what they're doing. I mean, it may be wrong, but I'm legit. Take my ID and let me get the hell on up out of here and get out to our face.
Right. So you are saying your rights are not that important to you.
I'm not saying it ain't that important to me. I'm saying you got to pick and choose.
And you're saying you're saying, what's your name?
My name is Rashawn, Mr. Walker. I'll be texting. I was formerly DAHG45, whatever my son had on there.
Okay. So you said Rashad?
Yeah, Rashad. So you're saying you pick and choose your battles, and in that particular battle, you choose walking away over your rights. So your rights are not that important to you. Well, I wouldn't say they ain't that important to me. I would just say that was a petty battle to me.
Well,
that's like being with your lady. Like you got to pick and choose your battles.
But wait a minute, because I want to understand what you're saying, or actually more than that, I want you to understand what you're saying, because you actually are saying your rights are not very important to you. You don't think that's what you're saying, but trust me, that's what you're saying. Because let me explain it to you this way. You have done nothing wrong, nothing illegal. You are perfectly, like you said, you clean. A police comes up and you have a right to remain silent. And in particular in Texas, you have a right to not give up your ID unless you've been arrested. Those are your rights. But you're saying, true, forget those rights. I want to walk away. So my rights are less important to me than walking away. Thus, your rights are not very important to you, is what you're saying.
They're important to me, but me being difficult can also open the door for more of my rights being violated. Now you searching my car. Now you doing this. Now you doing that. You see what I'm saying? It can just open it. Not that I don't care about my rights. It can just open the door to more BS that's not necessary. And so even though I'm being wronged in this situation.
So Rashad, just so I understand, your rights are important to you, but you're willing to give them up so that they don't take more. And you really believe that if I give up 2 of my rights, they won't want to take 3.
But what's the situation? I mean, is it really that serious? Yeah, I may be giving up a couple of my rights at this moment. But is it really worth me being detained or possibly wrongfully arrested for some bullshit? Or open the door for them to keep searching my car, or anything that could possibly keep happening.
But Rashad,
because I'm so stuck on, I ain't got to give you my ID.
But Rashad, here's what I want you to understand, at least from my perspective, and you can hold to that, and that's fine, because everybody has a different opinion. But from my perspective, and a lot of other people's perspectives, once you start just giving up rights, it becomes understood. Because I think that's what a lot of police function under. If you watch enough of these First Amendment videos, you'll hear a whole lot of police officers say, why don't you just give me your ID? Everybody else does it. Because they understand that there are a lot of people like you who are just like, okay, that right ain't all that important to me. And they've just become comfortable with the idea that, okay, that right is really kind of not valid anymore. So now I take for granted that right is not valid. So now let me go after the next right. And so once you say, okay, you can have my right to my ID. I'll give that up. And we all give up our right to not ID. Then next thing you know, well, okay, I want to remain silent. Well, no, why not just talk? Why not just answer questions because you want to go home? Well, now you lost the right to remain silent. Well, I don't want you to search my car. Well, if you really want to go home, why not just let them search your car? If they gonna, you already gave up your ID and, you spilling the beans. So now just let them search your car. And then the next thing, well, let me just go ahead and take him down to the station and process him and then let him go. But I didn't do nothing wrong. But just to be free, I'll go ahead and let you arrest me and process me. Next thing, well, let's just keep him for a day because, he didn't do nothing wrong, but you never know. So, okay, I'll let y'all keep me for a day so that I can be free in a week. Next thing is a week. Next thing is a month. You know what I'm saying? Once you start giving up rights, where do it end?
Oh, I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand what you're saying, and I partially agree with your sentiment. But what I'm saying though, after I give them my ID, like I told you, I mean I'm already good. So after I give you my ID, enough said.
But what
there
if
shouldn't be no more conversation after that? Now, if you're giving me more conversation and more questions and more difficulty, now it becomes something else because you done ran my name. I know I'm good. You know I'm good. Conversation should be over. Now, if we start to get to some other shit, now that's different.
Now let me next week.
But I'm already good. So I mean, I'll give you my ID just so you can get the hell on out my face.
So next week, let me do this just for you. I have a traffic stop where the guy stopped. He gave his ID. He answered all the questions. He did exactly what you said. And then it was, okay, hold on a minute. Can I search your car? And then it was.
No, see, that's when you're going too far.
But wait a minute. But why is that too far?
Because I've gave you my ID and you cleared me. I ain't got no warrants. I ain't nobody you looking for. I ain't got no tickets. I am a law-abiding citizen. I'm cool.
Wait.
You ain't got to be talking to me about nothing else. So now you can't search my car.
Right. So
you can't do nothing else.
So Rashad, why not, as what he did, nip it in the bud? And I haven't done anything wrong, so no, I'm not giving you my ID. Why give up one right?
That's your right.
As opposed to the other one? That's all I'm not understanding is mentally, how are you making the decision to draw the line?
I'm coming from the standpoint where I understand what you're saying. Like I say, just me personally, I'm coming from the standpoint that if I had been in that same situation, if it was me,
right?
Man, y'all go ahead and run my ID so I can get the hell on up out of here. And I wouldn't be expecting nothing else after that, after they ran my ID. Now, if they came back to me being aggressive and wanting to check my car and they talking about they mistaking me for somebody else and I got warrants and I know I don't and all that, now that's something different. But for me, just to kill the whole situation, I would have slid on my ID.
All right.
But we agree to disagree. That don't mean I don't care about my rights. It's just at that moment, it's not that serious to be so combative.
Again,
because at that moment,
your
that's
rights,
all they ask.
So at that moment, your rights aren't that important.
Again, it ain't my rights. It's the battle that.
But that's just it. But it is your rights. You have in particular in Texas, that is your right.
Yeah, it's your right.
Right, and so you're saying in terms of that situation.
But you also got a right to try to make you also got a right not to elevate situations for no reason.
No, that's not spelled out in the Constitution.
No, I'm talking about for yourself. Well, it's not even about them. It's about me in the bullshit that I know that they can bring to me just for me being difficult with them in this country that we in. Okay. I mean, he sued them or whatever, and he was successful with that, and that's cool. But we all know that's not how all situations end. So for me, knowing the potential this shit could be, and I know I'm all the way in the clear. Just my thinking. I already know y'all bogus. I know y'all violating my rights. I'm not cool with it. Okay. But I also know I ain't done shit either. So after I slide y'all my license, I'm expecting y'all to get the hell on. And like I said, if y'all come back with extra shit now, then we can engage in something different.
All right.
But far as me to slide to you my ID so you can get on out my face, for me to be better, I'm cool with that.
Okay. Look, I understand what you're saying, and I guess I'm arguing semantics.
And I understand what you're saying too. I mean, our rights is definitely important, but you know, from our vantage point, sometimes, man, go ahead, just give me, Sean, just go ahead and give me your ID, man, so they can go to hell on, man, leave us alone.
All right.
Instead of just arguing with somebody, you know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean. Hey, I appreciate your call.
No problem, man. I've been listening to you for a long time, man. You're still the king of talk.
I appreciate that, sir. Have a good one.
All right, my brother.
That was Rashawn. And look, I understand what Rashawn is saying. I do. I understand what he's saying. And my wife, Mrs. Livingston, has a little sign up in her office. And I walk by her office every day. And for whatever reason, that sign always grabs my attention. The sign says, some people dream the dream. Some people live the dream. Some people defend the dream. And so I understand different people have different roles when it comes to all of this stuff, right? Everybody don't want to fight every battle. Rashawn, in this particular case, he just want to live a dream. He want to go on about his business and be free. He want to go on about his business and be free. And from my perspective, I'm going to say the Batusi, I hate to botch his name. I'm going to have to go back and watch again because he has pronounced it 1,000 times, but it don't stick. He's one of those who he defends the dream. He's a dream defender, which is the area that, you know, I'm kind of passionate about and I'm kind of moving towards. So it would be wrong for me to say that Rashawn is wrong. Just, he's not a dreamer or a defender. He's a liver. He wants to live the dream, free of conflict, free of problems. And there is nothing wrong with that. Again, my only criticism, if you want to call it that, and it's not even really all that critical, is to criticize the people who want to defend the dream. Because if he wasn't out there defending the dream and everybody's just giving up one right at a time, when do we end up with no rights? When do we end up with none? I got no rights. Well, what happened? Man, I was just living the dream. I didn't want no drama. So, you know what I'm saying? Every time the man walked up to me, I gave him my ID. Next thing I know, he want to search my car. But I knew I didn't have nothing in my car. So I told him, F it. Just go ahead. Search the car. I knew I didn't have nothing in there. And then, you know, he said he was going to do so-and-so. And, you know, because a lot of us understand that once you start giving them up, well, sure. What they say, give an inch, they'll take a mile. But again, everybody ain't gonna live that. But don't criticize the person who's creating the situation where maybe police are looking at it and saying, okay, or at least hopefully, after enough of these incidents and after enough lawsuits, hopefully police are then looking at it saying, you know what? He didn't commit a crime. I don't have a right to get his ID. I don't have the authority to force him to identify himself to me. And since he didn't commit a crime, let me just leave him alone. Because ain't that the goal? That's, you know what I'm saying? Even if you believe that he's baiting. We just had the whole conversation about whether or not it is baiting. When police use a bait car, when they put the car out there, and then people come and try to steal the car and they arrest them, we don't look at the police and say, you're wrong for that. We look at police and say, thank you for getting that guy off the street, because that could have been my car. So even if he is baiting, we should be thankful for that. We should be thankful. Because at least to me, the idea of a bait car is to say, hey, look, there's a car that I could probably steal, but that could be a trap. That could be a trap. And maybe if he see my car, he like, ooh, that one could be a trap too. That could be a trap. So I'm not going to try to steal that car. The police is out here keep baiting her. You know what I'm saying? They put these fake prostitutes out here on the street, pretend like they selling ass, you know. And then I walk up to them talking about, I don't know what one says to a prostitute. I'm sorry. I've never approached a prostitute. I would be the worst first time John ever. Because I would be like, what services do you offer? How much? How much for those services? How does this work? Do you take a debit card? Because I don't carry cash. You know what I'm saying? I would be like the worst. I would be the worst. But the reason they do that, part of the reason that they do that, is because they're like, if we put enough of these, you know, fake prostitutes out here, then maybe some of these guys out here getting prostitutes would be, you know, leery and like, ooh, that might be a prostitute. I mean, that might be a cop. I'm not going to go out and try to buy no ass today. So you should be thankful that they're baiting, because baiting is not necessarily a bad thing. And again, as I saw somebody say, but if the fish don't take the bait, he ain't got nothing to worry about. And again, I still contend it's not bait. It's like fishing with a dry hook. The fish looks at that hook and it's like, ain't no food on there. Why would I just bite a hook? At least give me something. At least give me something. There's no, ain't nothing on the hook. That is standing on the sidewalk with a camera, because there's no crime. There's no appearance of a crime. But Will, I consider Will a friend of mine, even though he attacks me every once in a while. Will said, look, I would rather him just do it like when the police pull somebody over, as opposed to just standing out there, you know, where he's allowed to be not committing any crimes. Y'all, I need help understanding the mentality that some of y'all have, and not even really to try to be fun. I really need help understanding. He didn't commit a crime. What he did. If police see you not committing a crime, I might repeat this like 4 times just to really put it in your head. If a police officer sees you not committing a crime, that means like right now, whatever you're doing right now, I'm going to assume you're not committing a crime. If a police officer sees you and you are not committing a crime, you don't even look like you're committing a crime. Do y'all believe that the police should come up and question you and demand ID for not committing a crime? Now, it'd been different if when he asked the police, like, did I do something wrong? If the police were like, well, yeah, we think you're breaking the law by doing this. Then, you know, hey, they didn't know. But for the police to come up to you and say, excuse me, Vincent, I'm only saying Vincent because he's the last one that popped up in my chat. Let me put the chat back up there. Excuse me, Vincent. We know you're not committing any crimes right now, but we want to see some ID. How many of y'all are okay with that? How many of y'all are okay with that? Hey, Nikki, we know, you know what I'm saying? You sitting here and everything that you're doing is perfectly legal. Let me see some ID. And if you don't ID, I'm going to cuff you and take you downtown and get some ID from you. Hey, Nat, I know you're walking down the street. And we know you're not doing anything wrong. Let me see some ID. oh, if you don't ID, we gonna cuff you and take you downtown and find out who you are. Are we actually comfortable with that? Well, but he was standing in front of a... They knew he hadn't committed a crime. They didn't suspect him of committing a crime. Well, why can't he just go and when police got somebody pulled over, just record that? Well, just for the record, he does that too. And I could play you another video of him having done that and got even worse reaction from police. He sued them too. So when y'all say, well, why would we would rather him do this or we would rather him do that? One of the things that I'm trying to get y'all to understand is no matter what he does, he's not breaking the law and they're demanding ID. They're cuffing him and violating his rights. But we're saying, some people, we're saying we would rather nobody be out there educating law enforcement, basically at the price of the cost of the taxpayer, so that they can keep doing this to people who won't be recording it and educating. Because y'all know that if it's happening to people who recording it, you know it's happening to people who ain't recording it. You know that there are somebody who was standing in front of the police department or near a police department and some police rolled up on them and said, what you doing here? And they was like, nothing. I'm just standing here. I'm waiting for my ride. Well, you look suspicious. Give me some ID. But I'm not doing anything. Well, you ain't got no business standing in front of a government building waiting on a ride. Give me some ID. Come on, we know that has happened. I can guarantee you that has happened. And I don't do guarantees very much. I can guarantee you that has happened to some dude that didn't have a camera. So if we teach them that that's not legal, if a person is not committing a crime, no matter where they're standing, no matter how they look, no matter what they're doing, it's not criminal, leave them alone. But what if they don't like it? Is it illegal? No. You think they about to do something illegal? No. Then leave them alone. And then maybe all of these taxpayer dollars for all of these lawsuits wouldn't have to keep happening. But I think we see it. And we like, why is he doing that? Why is he even out there? He just trying to provoke something. He just trying to provoke something. That might be a good thing. That might be a good thing. Try to provoke it. Try to provoke it. Look, you can intentionally drop your check right in front of me. I'm not going to pick it up, forge your name, and go to the bank and deposit it in my check account. But he tried to provoke me. I didn't have a choice. I mean, he dropped his check right in front of me. What was I supposed to do? I'm not forge his signature and try to cash it? That sounds foolish to say, don't it? That sounds foolish to say. And if I did that, nobody would use that as an excuse. Like, well, I mean, I know he picked up the check and I know he forged it and I know he tried to deposit it in his checking account, but that guy didn't have no business dropping that check in front of him. He baited me. He baited me. I don't think it's baiting, but even if it is baiting, I'm quite comfortable with baiting. Like I believe it was Brent who said it's kind of like quality control. It's kind of like quality control. Think of auditors. It's just that auditors. Tony says he is provoking something. Our rights, so we will be knowledgeable. People die for lack of knowledge. All right. Andre says I would. Oh, you. Oh, wait a minute. Andre says I would. You saying you would pick up the check, forge it, and try to deposit it in your account? Is that what you say, Andre? Andre says it's a stupid tax. Yeah. And then I get it. It's a tax that we, the taxpayers, pay. We, the taxpayers, pay it. But and that says when you have a job where you can legally kill someone, you should know the laws. Daryl says I would too. Y'all would. I can't believe y'all damn criminals on this show. Y'all would. If I'm walking through and I got a check in my pocket, and for whatever reason I'm carrying it in my back pocket, I ain't signed it or nothing. I bend over to pick something up, and it, you know how they kind of slide out your pocket and fall down. That has actually happened to me, and a lady showed up at my door. Knocked on the door, and I'm like, I don't know this lady. I'm like, hello. And she's like, are you Emanuel Livingston? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, I found this. And it was a check of mine. My address and everything on it. I felt bad. I didn't have no cash. I wanted to give her something. And I was like, thank you. Oh, I want to give you something. I don't have no cash. Do you take debit cards? You know what I'm saying? Nobody takes debit cards. You got a Cash App or something? Because I wanted to give her something. But yeah, she drove to my house. I'm assuming she put my address in her, Waze or whatever. Her GPS. Came to my house and knocked on the door and gave me the check. I did not ask her if she needed a plumber. That do sound like the beginning of like a one of my movies with those exceptionally long love scenes in them, which I don't really care for the love scenes. I was at the grocery store and you dropped this. Oh, how can I repay you for that? Well, what do you have? I don't have any money, but I could give you. Okay. And then they break into this long love scene. I don't watch that part. I just watch it for the story. So it does sound like, the beginning of a particular movie. But yeah, no, she was a very nice lady. But I'm glad she ain't some of y'all and just forging my name and then depositing it in her account. Oh, if I'm behind you, drop a check. Might as well just say goodbye. Check, because it's going into my account. That is horrible. That is horrible. What is wrong with y'all? Andre say people hungry. You can't expect people to not take advantage of what they feel is their opportunity. I personally wouldn't. I believe in karma, but I also can't be mad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is horrible. Have you seen the price of gas lately? Look, I just paid $2.89 for gas yesterday. I paid $2.89 for gas yesterday. Filled up. But, I ran it all out coming back home. But yeah, no, being tempted to violate somebody, be it, steal their money, do anything else like that, steal their check, forge your name, or violate their rights. It's up to you as the person to say, I'm not going to do that. But all right, this was First Amendment Fridays. I wanted to kind of get it out there, get it in, and, begin to talk about it. Every Friday, I'll do one of these. There's an endless supply of them. And I won't always do it where the officers are wrong. Because I think it's important, because people are like, oh, what was he out there? What was he out there for? There was one that was done here in Cincinnati. Well, there's been a number of them done here in Cincinnati. But the police did a good job. They did okay. I mean, they did ask the lady for some ID and all of that kind of stuff. But eventually, a supervisor came out and said, she's not doing anything wrong. She's not breaking any laws. Go on about your business. And all the officers who had gathered around to harass her for not breaking the law went on about their business. Because there was a supervisor who knew and who, at least at that point had the integrity to say, let's not violate this woman's rights. She hasn't done anything wrong. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. So some of them, police will act badly. Others, police will act good. But we'll look at them. Again, I'm training y'all. And people hate the term training. They ain't training me. I ain't no dog. I'm trying to get you mentally in a position where you understand it and understand that there's 100,000 ways that it could go. And that the person doing it is not necessarily the bad guy. Because they're not violating a law. They're not breaking the law. They're not harming anyone. So now all y'all just gonna steal my money? I'm thankful that lady brought me I still feel bad to this day, to this very moment. Like, I wish I would have had some cash on hand to give that lady. And she wasn't looking for nothing. I dropped the check, she found it, and she just, gave it to me. Get Cash App or something. Venmo, something, get something, so that I ask the homeless people now. Every once in a while when I feel, charitable, and I'll see a homeless person or a person posing as homeless, because I don't necessarily trust that they are homeless. Everybody with a sign to say that they homeless ain't necessarily homeless. So I don't necessarily trust it. But if I pull up on you and you asking for money, I don't carry cash. I'm like, you got Cash App? You know what I'm saying? You take debit cards? It's got to be rough out there now as a homeless person. Nobody got cash. But I would have Cash Apped that lady. Some money. Not that the check was like a huge check, but it was just the idea that she brought the check to me. PSA, the new term is unhoused person. Well, that's the term. Let me evaluate that. Unhoused. I'm not gonna house them. Housing somebody meant something different to me. They're homeless. They don't have a home. They're homeless. Like a person without fear, they're fearless. They're a person without, they're houseless. Maybe not homeless. They're houseless. They're a person without a house. unhoused, I guess, works, but I don't like it. So maybe I won't say, because, maybe that tent, that's their home. That, under the bridge, that's their home. That's their home. So maybe they're not homeless. They're houseless. They're houseless. Rick want to know, was it a buzz check? It was not a buzz check. How do I stay focused with all of the stuff? I don't see all of the chat. Like, I see it, but I don't have time to be focusing on it. Like, y'all, they go by pretty fast, and you're trying to talk and read them at the same time. But all right, y'all, I got to get out of here. I believe Wyatt. If Wyatt is coming on, check him out. Check him out. I think I'll be on all week next week. I don't have anything pressing that I have to do. Nikki says, I like the First Amendment audit videos. Good. We'll be watching one a week. Trust me, if you want to watch them, all you got to do is just go check them out. Go to YouTube, type in First Amendment audit, and you'll see there's a million of them. All right? But I got to get out of here. Wyatt is probably on right now, so check him out. Have an amazing weekend, all right? Whatever you're doing this weekend, go out and enjoy it. I believe that the blues show is tonight, the blues show featuring Lakeside or whatever. I believe it's tonight with a blues artist that ain't actually blues artist. But go check it out. Go support it anyway, all right? I think that's about it. I mean, get out of here. It's the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I am the King of Talk. Have an amazing weekend. Until next time, I'm out, y'all. Peace.